Hey, Rob here. It's been a while since I posted my initial review of the Git2 Pro, so I figured I'd update you now that there's been a few firmware changes. In the last 3 months, GitUp has solved many of the problems I had with the camera initially. I can honestly say that this device has gotten better as it ages, unlike my smartphone. The biggest difference I've immediately noticed with Firmware 1.5 is the color and contrast. I used to have trouble with blown out highlights and crazy vivid color, but now that there's a low contrast setting, the camera holds highlights a little bit better. Everything looks far more realistic and the colors are not too bright. I still stand by this camera having the best image stabilization I've tested to date, and if I'm paying attention while filming, the camera is capable of some great things. I mean, it's not a miracle worker, so if you're shaking your head around, it's still gonna rock. The other thing I love about this firmware is now starting and stopping the camera requires only one button press even if the camera screen is off. That's one of those basic user-centric things where it seems like it should be obvious right from the start, but now that the camera has the feature, I find myself frustrated having to double press start and stop recording on any other camera. The one downside I still notice with the Git2 is in low light situations. The camera tends to blur and smudge frames together because it drops below 60 or 30 frames per second, instead of boosting the ISO. I understand that GitUp doesn't want to introduce too much noise into the video, but in my opinion, some noise is better than video that is basically unusable because the frames are blurred together. I actually shot this entire video in 1080p 30, knowing that I'd be going into some darker settings, and if you do that, the effect isn't so bad. But in 1080p 60, the camera prioritizes ISO over shutter speed, which is a bit of a disappointment as it results in pretty poor video. Audio is improved with this firmware as well. I think that the mic level was boosted as I can actually hear myself talking with the case on now. Give it a listen.
Hey everyone, this is the Git2 Pro mic test firmware version 1.5. Hopefully you can hear me. The camera's currently in the shell, so I'm not actually expecting you to hear me much, and I'm also talking while riding.
Hey, Rob here, and this is a mic test of the Git2 Pro firmware version 1.5 with the camera out of the case. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me. If not, this will just be a blank video that looks really weird. Anyways, it's pretty dark in the forest now, so I gotta get going.
Overall, my opinion of the Git2 Pro keeps getting better, and once GitUp issues a fix for the smeared frames, I'd recommend this camera to almost anyone. There's no point spending more money on another camera unless you need real 4K, as this camera gets almost everything right. At the moment, I highly recommend it, but still keep in mind that it's not the greatest in low light. On Thursday, I'll be receiving the Suku C30, which looks like it's the same internals as the SJ5000X Elite, except it's available for $40 less, so I'm excited to see how that camera works. Keep in touch for that review. Thank you for watching.